It was the risk of acetaminophen overdose that led the FDA panel of experts to recommend eliminating prescription painkillers that include it.
The voting results are in.
Percocet, Vicodin, products used by millions.
Data that was presented showed that there are many deaths annually in this country from the prescription opioid combination acetaminophen products.
The panel also suggested sweeping changes to over-the-counter acetaminophen, such as slashing the maximum single dose to 650 milligrams. Currently, a dose of extra-strength Tylenol contains nearly double that, 1,000 milligrams. They also voted to cut the maximum amount people use per day, though they wouldn't specify by how much.
Very long overdue, at least by a year and a half from our family.
Evelyn Burns' daughter Madeline was one of the 56,000 Americans who go to the emergency room every year with acetaminophen-related liver failure. The college sophomore died after taking 8 Tylenol a day for a week for tooth pain.
Had the dosages said 4 tablets a day instead of 8, she'd be alive today, and I have a hard time wrapping my mind around that.
Unlike aspirin, acetaminophen is not primarily an anti-inflammatory. Instead, it works by lowering the brain's perception of pain. Acetaminophen is in hundreds of products like Excedrin and Midol, and it's in some that people don't realize, such as cough and cold liquids like NyQuil and Theraflu. That, doctors say, can lead to accidental overdose.
If someone has a cold and a headache, they may take a flu preparation, which may contain Tylenol, and then they're going to take an additional dose of Tylenol on top of it for their headache, and then already you're overdosing or taking too much Tylenol.
The FDA says its efforts to educate the public about the dangers of too much Tylenol
Acetaminophen toxicity is a leading cause of acute liver failure.
have not been enough to reduce the estimated 400 acetaminophen-related deaths every year. But the drug industry, which sells $2.6 billion worth of acetaminophen-related products every year, called today's moves overkill.
We believe that you're taking away a product that people really need to have.
The panel also voted to place the most serious warning, a black box warning, on the packaging of all acetaminophen products. Now, the FDA doesn't have to take all the recommendations of its experts, but it usually does, Katie.
All right. Nancy Cordes in Washington. Nancy, thank you. Dr. John LaPook is our medical correspondent. So, John, give us some advice, doctor. What do you do if you have Tylenol and other medications with acetaminophen in your medicine cabinet?
I hate to say this, but you're going to have to do arithmetic. Okay, for example, acetaminophen is the active ingredient in Tylenol. Now, Tylenol comes commonly in 3 doses, 325 milligrams, 500 milligrams, and 650 milligrams. Now, the FDA says right now to limit your daily dose of acetaminophen to 4,000 milligrams. Now, 4,000 milligrams translates to 12 of the 325, to 8 of the 500, and to 6 of the 650 milligram pills. Now, on top of that, throw in the fact that there's acetaminophen in over-the-counter cough medicine and cold medicine, and the bottom line here is you have to keep track.
So you have to include that when you're considering dosage. And what about Vicodin and Percocet? Will they be banned ultimately?
Well, narrowly, the advisory committee said that they did want to ban it, but again, this was a narrow vote, and we'd have to wait for the full vote of the FDA to see what happens.
All right, big developments in the medical world. John LaPook. John, thank you so much.